Next news. Breaking news from the White House.
I'm Gary Franchi at the White House on this Good Friday, and the American worker just got a resurrection. The mainstream media got caught telling the truth, and they can't believe it. CNN anchors are literally gasping on air. CNBC hosts are calling it a shocker. In Fox Business, they're saying, wow, over and over again, President Trump just tripled job expectations, and the so-called experts never saw it coming. You see, for years they told you Trump's economic policies would destroy the country. They said tariffs would tank the market. They said manufacturing was dead. They said blue-collar jobs were never coming back. Well, the March jobs report just dropped, and every single one of their predictions just went up in smoke. 178,000 new jobs when they expected 60,000. The unemployment rate dropped to 4.3% when everyone said it would stay flat. You see, this is not just a good report. This is a demolition of the mainstream narrative, and here's what matters to you. These aren't government desk jobs or big tech positions for coastal elites. We're talking about real jobs, manufacturing, construction, the kind of work that built this country, the kind of work that feeds families in the heartland. Yes, my friends, the American worker is back, and while this economy is roaring, I need to tell you why the smart money isn't panicking about market volatility. See, the experts predicted 60,000 jobs. Trump delivered nearly triple that. While they were wrong about the economy, they were also wrong about your money. You see, Wall Street doesn't lose during sell-offs, you do. They create the panic, wait for you to dump your position and scoop it up at a discount. The big banks aren't selling their gold, they're buying yours. See, you built your portfolio insurance for a reason. Don't let a red day hand it to the people who caused the fear. That's why I tell people to talk to Noble Gold Investments. Go to nextnewsgold.com right now. They'll help you protect what you've built with physical gold and silver you actually own. Open a qualifying IRA and get a free 10th ounce American Gold Eagle. Nextnewsgold.com, because the same experts who got the jobs report wrong are the ones telling you not to worry about your retirement. Now, let me show you what has these mainstream anchors completely losing their minds. Because, see, here's the thing. It's one thing for me to tell you the economy is crushing expectations, but it hits different when you watch CNN and CNBC admit it themselves. Their own experts on their own networks saying they got it completely wrong. I got 4 clips to show you right now, and each one is more damaging to their narrative than the last one. First up, CNBC this morning. Now remember, these are the so-called market experts who've been telling you for months that Trump's policies would wreck the economy. Watch their anchor call for a drum roll on the unemployment numbers, and then listen to what he says when he sees the actual data. See, this is not what they were expecting. Watch.
Finally, the U3, the unemployment rate, drum roll please, comes in at 4.3. I know we were discussing this morning, we're all expecting it to remain at 4.4, and we know that zero job growth takes into account, the immigration issues and population issues. So 4.3 is a little bit of a shocker. That's where we were in January to find a lower number. You're going back to June of last year when it was 4.1.
Did you hear that? A little bit of a shocker. Their words, not mine. 4.3% unemployment when everyone in their green room predicted 4.4, and he admits to find a number this low, you have to go back to June of last year. That's 9 months of so-called experts being wrong about where this economy was headed. But you see, that's just the appetizer. Wait until you see what happened over at CNN. That's right, check out CNN, I want you to watch the anchor's face when these numbers hit the screen. They expected 60,000 jobs, just 60,000. Now listen to what he says when he sees what actually happened.
I mean, the expectation was what, 60,000 jobs, and it's 178? Wow.
Yeah, look, the job market bounced back in a big way in March, and that is good news, really blowing away expectations.
Wow. That's a CNN anchor saying wow about Trump's economy. Really blowing away expectations. 178,000 jobs when they predicted 60,000. That's not beating expectations, folks. That's nearly tripling them. And CNN of all places had to report it. Now here's where it gets even better, because it's not just about the numbers, it's about what kind of jobs. This next clip is critical. Economic analysis Nancy Lazar breaks down why this jobs report is different from anything we've seen in years. She's talking about something the mainstream media has been telling you was impossible, and I need you to hear this directly from the market expert's mouth. Watch.
What's encouraging in this report, and it was echoed earlier this week with the ISM and in construction spending in general, we are getting goods-producing jobs back. So what excites me about going forward is that we're going to get more blue-collar jobs, which we have needed more because obviously we have a very, very diverse population and not everybody wants to go to college, can go to college. And so we need these trade jobs, and they are coming back. You're seeing that obviously in manufacturing again this month. We saw it, as I mentioned, in the ISM. We're not only building data centers, we are also building new factories, and so that's going to be positive for construction jobs. So no question, up until more recently, the labor market's been lopsided toward the service sector, but that's where we've been. The question is, where are we going? And I think we are going to see more and more of these goods-producing jobs, which, by the way, are good-paying jobs. And so I'm excited about, Stephen mentions the weakness in the labor force participation. I've been watching the prime-age labor force participation. And so what you've seen is as you're starting to see more sectors of the job market increase employment, you are seeing the prime-age labor force participation grind higher. I did not see what it did in the March report, but it's been in a rising trend. It is historically high. So no question we may have an issue with overall labor force, but prime age is encouragingly been on a rising trend because we are broadening out the labor market. So I would say focus a little bit more on goods producing jobs, construction and manufacturing. And also in this report, we saw an increase in temp employment. And that is such a reliable kind of good coincident indicator that companies initially, as they get more optimistic, hire people in the temp area. And so that also is in a rising trend. So I would look at this report as the glass is half full.
Okay, well, no, and I'm glad that you said that. And by the way, I can answer your question, Nancy. 61.9 was labor force participation. So that number did come in. You know, again, it's a stronger number.
And did you catch that? We're getting goods producing jobs back. Manufacturing jobs, construction jobs. She said we're not just building data centers, we're building new factories. Blue-collar jobs with real wages for Americans who don't have fancy degrees. And she called temp employment a reliable good coincidence indicator, meaning companies are getting optimistic and starting to hire. Her exact words, the glass is half full. And now, the final nail in the coffin of the mainstream narrative. Watch the reaction to the full picture this morning. Pay attention to the private sector number because this is what tells you the real economy, not government hiring, is coming back stronger than anyone predicted. Watch.
Look at the futures jump, and it is because this is one heck of a report, folks. Wow is right, Steve Moore. Non-farm jobs coming in 178,000 jobs. The expectation was 60,000, folks. The unemployment rate went down to 4.3%. The expectation was 4.4%. We didn't get a loss in manufacturing jobs. We got a hit of 15,000 manufacturing jobs. Private sector jobs, get this, folks, 186,000. 186,000. The estimate was for 70,000.
186,000 private sector jobs when they expected 70,000. That's not the government padding numbers with bureaucrat positions. That's real American businesses hiring real American workers. The host literally called it one heck of a report and said, wow, is right. Even the futures markets jumped the moment these numbers dropped. So let's put this all together because what you just witnessed is absolutely historic. And think about what we just watched. CNBC calling unemployment numbers a shocker. CNN anchors literally saying, wow, and admitting Trump blew away expectations. Market analysts celebrating the return of blue-collar manufacturing jobs. Private sector hiring crushed predictions by nearly 3 times. This is not spin, folks. This is the media being forced to admit reality. Every network, every expert, every prediction wrong. President Trump told you he would bring back American jobs. He told you manufacturing would return. He told you the forgotten men and women of this country would have work again. And today, even his critics had to admit that he delivered. You see, this is what winning looks like, America. Not just good numbers, but numbers so good that the networks who spent years attacking this president had to go on air and admit they were wrong. Nearly triple the expected job growth. Unemployment dropping when they said it wouldn't. Blue-collar jobs coming back when they said it was impossible. This is the Trump economy. This is what happens when you put America first. Now, I need you to do something. Share this video because the mainstream media, they'll try to bury the story by tonight. They'll move on to the next manufacturing crisis. But these numbers, These are receipts. Send this to everyone you know who's been told the economy was about to collapse. Let them see CNN and CNBC admitting the truth with their own words. And hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and remember, we're not just watching history, we're on the ground here making it. I'm Gary Franchi at the White House on Good Friday. Stay informed, stay free, and let's keep on winning.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.